your internet oasis for brain body bliss, both inside and outside your hoop. Today I have a special guest star. Christina Buster is with me. She is a Colorado hooper, yogini, and she also does quite a bit of desk sitting. So the concerns that she's expressed to me today have been about her hips. In particular, she gets a lot of tightness in the inguinal crease, and she gets a little bit of ache and pain in the outside of the hip. So the work that we're going to do today is going to help bring more balance back to her hip region, starting with a Pilates bridge. So I have her laying down on her back. Her feet are a comfortable distance away from her sits bones, not too close and not too far away from her sits. I also want to make sure that her legs maintain parallel alignment, so I'm going to give her a friend in the form of a yoga block right between the thigh bones that she can just hug very passively with the inner thighs, just to give them some activation so they know where center is. She can take her palms down to the mat, and we're going to start by finding that neutral position in the pelvis. She has that tiny sticker butt feeling out like we found with Nick yesterday. And we're going to take an exhale to stabilize. The belly pulls in, the ribs knit in and down. So I like to think that the rib cage is stapled to the pelvis, and we want to keep that idea throughout this bridge. So the bridge in Pilates is about the legs. It's not about opening the spine, it's about opening the hips. So let's do just that. She's going to press down through her heels, and the pelvis comes straight up off the mat. We're not rolling through the spine, we're opening the hip crease. And she's going to make sure that her knees are reaching out away from her head, taking the weight of the body out of the shoulders and into those legs. So holding this, you can just breathe naturally for a minute. Ideally, we want a nice straight line from shoulder to knee. So in order to do that, she's got to keep pressure down through the heels to push up through the hips, but also exhaling those front ribs down. So in and of itself, she's got a little bit of work in the abdominals, that serratus anterior, and hopefully a little bit of hamstring. Do you feel the backs of your legs? Great. She's going to take a breath in, and then to come back down, on the exhale, the navel pulls into the spine, and then she's going to think of softening her rib cage into the mat. And then she's going to think of pulling her belly button into the mat. And then she's going to roll past her waistband, past the sacrum, finding the tailbone at the bottom. So let's take a little bit of sequence with this. Press down into the heels. On your inhale, press the pelvis up. Good. She's going to reach her knees towards the feet. So take the weight out of the shoulders. Take an exhale and stay, organizing the torso. Good. She's going to take another breath in, staying put. And then one more exhale to roll down, beginning with that navel to spine feeling, each and every bone softening into the mat one at a time. Good. Nice. And just a quick note, we're not articulating through the spine. Go ahead and show, right? Appealing upward and then into the bridge. Now that's not wrong, but we're not doing that. Go ahead and roll back down. The only reason why we're not doing that is because her hips are already tight. And a lot of times when we do articulate through the spine, go ahead and pause when you've tucked the tailbone right there. When the navel is pulled in, that lumbar is imprinted in the mat. That's not wrong, but she's already got tightness in the hips. And a lot of times we'll initiate this bridge with those hip flexors when we articulate. So she's going to release back into neutral, release those hip flexors. And again, rather than articulating, she's going to lever straight up as if she had strings on her hip points. Right. And then she exhales to close the rib cage. Good. One more breath in, keeping the abdominals strong. One more exhale to roll back down. Each and every bone of the rib cage, each and every bone through the lumbar, past the sacrum to the tail. Great. So there's your Pilates bridge. Now you can do this exercise, but if your hamstrings are really tight, you may experience some cramping in that exercise. So there's one other variation that we can do for the hamstring exercise, which is a bridge on the ball.